Hi, John Knox, the Boomer Fitness Guy. I've been asked, what's my passion? Why do I do this? Well, real simply from, my point of view, if I'm going to be the guy who teaches boomers about being healthy, I've got to be healthy myself. So there's a benefit here that is pretty nice. I got to stay in shape because I want to be able to teach others to do it. And, I got to tell you, it's fun being in shape. I'm close to 60. And, having people, through the day as I go through, my life, say, wow, you look like you're in really great shape. It feels good. And there's a light that happens in other people's eyes when they're around somebody who's, in good shape. The other part of it is when people first come to me and they say, I'm interested in, maybe getting started back, their eyes have a certain kind of like, things aren't working. I don't feel good. And when I show them a glimpse of what they could feel like, when they start to become a little more athletic, I love seeing the light in their eyes. I love seeing that recognition that they go, yeah, I remember this. Maybe it's not as broad as that, but everyone does have that moment when, they start to breathe better and they start to go, oh, the body works better. Because they're not saddled with, oh, this is not working, and oh, I have to do this, and I don't want to do that. When you don't want to exercise, there's a mental fight in your head. I know about it, believe me. The reason why I know about it is I'm coming up on 3 years that I've exercised every day. So I know what it's like to have the fight up here. If someone hasn't worked out for years, I'm seeing in their eyes and their body the accumulated years of, oh, I really know I should do this, and I don't want to eat right, it's too much trouble, and you don't understand the time, and my schedule, and my family, and if you run that through your head for as many years as a lot of folks have, it creates a way of being that they're not even aware of. Mm-hmm. And when I get a chance to bring somebody out on the field and show them what simple athletic physical fitness is going to be like, there always is that moment of transition, and it happens in their eyes. What I want to be able to do is show them that it's easier than they thought. It's not a cakewalk. None of the stuff is. And anybody that tells you that is just lying to you. I've been asked, how is what I do with a group of baby boomers? And to me, I loosely define baby boomers as anybody born around from 1945 to like 1960, 65 if you want. The one thing that I've noticed with baby boomers is when they decide they want to get back in shape, or this is actually with anybody, when they decide they want to get back in shape, they've crossed the first barrier of resistance, and the brain goes, okay, all right, I think this is a good thing. And then it starts to direct the body that hasn't done this in years to, remember how we used to do that? Yeah, let's go do that. The enthusiasm kicks in. So what I have to do when I'm working with a group of older clients is temper the enthusiasm, give it, some rein, but make sure that they don't inadvertently damage themselves out of their goodwill and enthusiasm. So with 30-somethings and 20-somethings, I'm always interested in form, but if they get exuberant, even though I'm watching, I gauge that they can support that exuberance and the sudden motions that sometimes exuberance brings, and the unexpected directions that their body will take. But with a group of baby boomers, what I do with them is I make sure that the enthusiasm is consistent, and their application of the enthusiasm in their body movements is consistent, because the sudden motion of like, oh yeah, and the joy of moving can bring them to a point where they might hurt themselves, and that's the last thing in the world I want to have happen to any of my clients, is for them to slightly injure or tweak themselves where they can't show up and consistently keep this going.